Beijing is home to one of the world's largest media organisations, and it's Xinhua News Agency. This year, Xinhua turns 90 years old. The story of this agency, like many stories in modern China, has humble roots, cultivated in the nation's rural, once overlooked backwaters. The first piece of news released by Xinhua was not even under the agency's current name. 90 years ago, in this very building, Xinhua was known as the Red China News Agency. So this is where it all began. But what happens next? This is Xinhua Special, and I'm Helen Bentley. On the evening of November the 7th, 1931, the Red China News Agency released its first news item, announcing that the Communist Party of China, the CPC, had held its first National Congress of the Chinese Soviet Republic. The news was wired by a 100-watt telegraph, but this was not the first telegraph owned by this fledgling agency, as historian Peng Xiaoqing explained to me.
你看，这是一部半电台。第一次反围剿的时候，就缴获了这半部电台，因为当时的红军战士他不知道这是什么，所以把它砸坏了，只留下半部的这个收报机带回来了。在第二次反围剿的时候，才缴获了完整的一部电台。就在这一部半电台的基础上，成立了红中社。我们红中社成立的目的，就是为了把我们党中央的声音发出去。
Red China News Agency's years in Jiangxi concluded in 1934 with a grueling cross-country manoeuvre known as the Long March. Its next base was in Shanxi in northwest China, where in 1937 it was renamed Xinhua News Agency, literally meaning New China. A new name was accompanied by new opportunities and, most importantly, new audiences, as domestic bureaus were established across the country and Xinhua's stories began to be picked up by overseas outlets. Xinhua's English language service was launched in 1944, in no small part thanks to a British man called Michael Lindsay, who'd actually arrived in China in the late 30s to teach at a university in Beijing. He was instrumental in the upgrading of the CPC's radio equipment so that stories such as this one could make their way across the Pacific. Starting in 1946, with the Japanese defeated, another war broke out, one that saw two opposing forces in China fight to define the nation's future. Meanwhile, Xinhua continued to develop, and its first overseas bureaus opened in London and Prague. The next big manoeuvre would see Xinhua move to its current home in the centre of Beijing in 1949, just a heartbeat away from the Forbidden City, where just a few days after its move was complete, Xinhua would cover the most significant event in modern China's history, the founding of a new nation.
Сегодня создана Китайская Народная Республика.
Former Xinhua reporter Chu Du-yi broadcast this historical moment to the outside world through the Russian service. She is the daughter of Chu Chubai, a former party leader executed by the Kuomintang, and is the same age as the CPC. As a journalist, she witnessed and recorded the profound changes of the country her father died for. Today, Xinhua provides 24/7 services, including text stories, videos and photographs in 15 languages, spanning social media, apps, websites and broadcast. Its methods and approaches as varied as the content itself. Its reports have covered a changing China, a changing world, a changing industry, from the ground up.
我是新华社太空特约记者航天员景海鹏。
In addition to its downtown Beijing HQ, Xinhua has more than 230 branches across China and the world, reporting the news from where and when it happens. In recent years, as media industries worldwide have innovated their offerings, Xinhua too has upgraded its editorial tools. I'm about to speak to somebody who's at the forefront of efforts by Xinhua to make the most of these developments. But that person is not even a person at all.
新华社的智能采编融合了5G、大数据、物联网、人工智能等技术，在新闻发现与采集中，不仅有线索超早期发现系统，还用5G 网络提升数据传输速度。此外，还开发了海报、视频、数据新闻的智能加工平台，并将人脸识别、智能校验等技术应用于采编流程中，人机协作，大大提升了新闻采编效率。
I can't imagine what those first Xinhua employees would say about the agency that they created today. From its roots as a covert operation that had to seize equipment and evade capture, it is now at the cutting edge of innovation to upgrade offerings and methods that will have real industry-wide implications. 90 years on, and Xinhua's story is still being written.